Peter dwi o gorllewin Cymru. That was a little bit of Welsh. Because I'm from Wales, I just said, welcome everybody, good evening, I'm Peter and I'm from West Wales. And this gentleman is Henry Brown. Henry was born into slavery in 1815 on the Hermitage Plantation in Louisa County in Virginia. His parents filled him with the skills of the African conjurer, but he also knew stage magic. He could produce a dove from a handkerchief, card tricks, you know the kind of thing. But Henry could give you an acorn, and he would tell you to plant it, and it would turn into a nail tree. Henry was married to a woman called Nancy, who also lived on the plantation. They had 3 children. There was a 4th on the way when Nancy and the children and the unborn child were sold to another plantation. Despite the fact that Henry was actually acquiring a little tobacco from the plantation and selling it on the quiet to raise money to pay the plantation owner, not to sell his wife and children. But they were sold. Henry had had enough. It was time to go. He built himself a box, 91 centimetres wide, 81 high, and 61 deep. He lined it with baize. He took an awl and bored holes so he could breathe. He placed a bottle of water in there, and he posted himself to the Philadelphia Vigilante Society, to a man called Passmore Williams. He travelled by horse and wagon, by steamboat, by railroad, for 27 hours, frequently with the blood rushing to his head, gasping for breath. But 27 hours later, he arrived in Philadelphia. The box was opened, and Henry burst out and he sang a song to freedom. There was something extraordinary about this man. Within a couple of months, he wrote his autobiography, The Narrative of Henry Box Brown. It sold in enormous numbers. And with the money he got from selling his autobiography, which contained words like this: yes, I entered the world a slave. They robbed me of myself before I could know the nature of their wicked arts. He built himself another box, more or less the same size as the one he was in, but this one, you all now know what this is. This was a crankie. But guess what? Henry didn't call it that. It was much posher in those days, you know. It was called a moving panorama. But it was a crankie, let's be honest. He employed a man called Josiah Walcott, who was an abolitionist and a fine artist, to paint 49 scenes, from starting in West Africa, following the people over on the boats, accompanied by the mermaid Mami Wata, who cared for everybody, and then Henry's escape to freedom in a box, very like the one he was telling the story in. The story debuted in April 1850, just a few months after he had escaped. On the stage in Boston, it received widespread acclaim. The Boston newspapers were purring with it. He toured it round New England, but not for long, because the fugitive Fugitive Slave Act was passed that summer. Henry got beaten up in Providence, and in October of that year, he fled again. He escaped once more. This time on a ship, the Constantine, bound for Liverpool. And the luggage he took with him was his Crankie box, the most precious thing he owned. He arrived in November 1850 in Liverpool to incredible acclaim. The newspapers were full of him. He was a hero. He republished his autobiography, raised more money, and with that, he set off on the road with his Crankie box. There was one famous occasion where he was nailed into a box exactly the same size as the one he escaped in Bradford, in the north of England, placed on a wagon and horse, taken to Leeds, about a journey of about an hour, placed on the stage of the local music hall. The chains began to rattle. The nails began to come out of the box as the audience came in. And as they settled in their seats, Henry burst out and he sang that same song to freedom that he had sung only a few months before in Philadelphia. There was something extraordinary about this man. This is how he advertised himself. The African chief, professor of electrobiology, king of the mesmerizers. Henry toured for year after year. He lived in the UK for 25 years, having escaped from slavery. And you might wonder why me, from Wales, is telling this story. And it's because in 1854, in January, Henry Box Brown turned up in Cardiff, capital of Wales. He became a Welsh boy. He began touring. He played in all the working men's clubs. He played in the miners' institutes, and they adored him. Rave reviews wherever he went. There was something about this man that these working men recognized. They too, miners, steelworkers, ironworkers, paid in scrip, owing their lives and their work to the institution that employed them. They understood Henry. 25 years he stayed in the UK, and it was only in 1875, at the end of the American Civil War, that Henry Box Brown returned here to America.
Oh, my darling Clementine, I've been wasting my precious time. I've been lost in the bottom of the sky, wasting myself on and wine. Oh, my darling Clementine, I'm gonna fly over this mountain and take a good look at the stars. I'm gonna find my way home, no matter how hard. I had your name embroidered on the inside of my vest. I believed in what you told me, although the grieving was best. All you rounders, half-bound women, you can drink all of my wine. I'll be safe at home with my darling, my one Clementine. just what you meant to me, and I wouldn't be swinging from the soul. I had your name blazing, tattooed here upon my chest, and I believed from what you told me. We both agreed that it was best. All you rounders, half my women, you can drink all of my wine. I'll be safe at home, my darling, alone. And
Not everyone on the plantations could escape in a box. It was known. People flew. People saw it with their own eyes. People just took off from the fields and they flew, always flying east towards the west of Africa. They flew to freedom. It's documented. It must be true. They lived in the swamps, where they kept their stories, they kept their lives together through the minds of the storytellers. But Henry, you see, was a performance artist, long before that term was even thought of. He alone could communicate, could tell the stories of his people to the rest of the world, who at this point had never seen images of what happened on the plantations. This man was magic. Henry